Okay, what's up, guys? My name is TMossBoss, and I wanted to let you guys know about Anchor. Anchor is an app that you can download to record your podcast in the easiest way ever. Like, it doesn't require a whole lot to know. Like, you just pretty much press record and you just start doing your podcast and stuff. I don't know what you plan on doing, but you plan on doing something. That's why you're here. So, yeah, download Anchor, or you could go to their website, anchor.fm, and yeah, you could do it straight from your computer too. So yeah, it's easy. They distribute everything to they distribute your podcast to every streaming services like out there, Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere. Okay, and then you can monetize it, so you're making money off of what you love doing. All right, so people, make sure you do it. Make sure you download Anchor, or you go to their website, anchor.fm. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for listening. Peace. Okay, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And this was announced. What was it? A couple of days ago or yesterday? It was announced at some point in time, and it was kind of like something that I had already knew. Like, it wasn't really surprising to me, because I figured because this past WrestleMania, it was Undertaker's last match right now on SmackDown. There showing and like a tribute to him. Like, they're showing like his like the very first time he appeared in WWE. Then they're showing like bits of this Boneyard match. I think they're like trying to drag this match out for the like remainder of the show, because I know because they had like wrestlers there, so that's why I'm like, it doesn't defeats the purpose if they're like trying to like not have like nobody come in contact with each other. Like, as soon as the show started, they had it where it was like all the like pretty much like a good portion of the wrestlers are saying like thank you Taker or something like that. So it doesn't really make any sense to me. I'm saying that because I know at WWE there's like 10 like plus people that tested positive for COVID-19. So yeah, it's like, it's kind of weird how they're like still got wrestlers like showing up and things. I don't know. I think like that's probably what they're doing. I don't know. It's up in the air right now with SmackDown. You don't know what they really doing. They probably gonna have like people wrestle at the very end. But I'm like, it wasn't like this match was long. Like, couple of things happened and then that was it. Like, I'd say for the most part, like with this match, like they already had like one commercial break. I'd say they had like maybe two more commercial breaks, but that'll probably last all the way up until like, yeah, so it'll probably be like 9:30 or something. But nah, it wasn't that long. Nah, it'll probably be like 9 or maybe before 9 or something. But I highly doubt that this will carry on any longer past 9 o'clock and stuff. Like, probably for an hour they'll have like a couple of matches, some backstage promos and stuff. But yeah, but it's just crazy to think like Undertaker is retiring. Like, this is and it's crazy. The first time because the first time I had to say I sat down and really got into wrestling, first match that I watched, or it was like the first moment that I remember like watching and getting like highly interested into wrestling, was when Batista, another wrestler, if for those that don't know him, I can't, because I don't follow the Guardian of the Galaxy movies, but he plays in that movie. He's like the big buff like lava looking dude or something. I can't think of his name. What was his name in that movie? Because like I said, don't follow that movie. Don't follow really any of the Guardian of the Galaxy. I don't really follow any of those Marvel movies. I know like some of the major characters, but Guardians of the Galaxy is new to me, so sorry if I offended any Marvel fans out there. But Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Drax the Destroyer. So yeah, Drax the Destroyer, real name Dave Bautista, used to be a wrestler. For those that don't know, I would imagine like people would know that by now. How many of these Guardian of the Galaxy movies they came out with? Like 2 or 3? Well, I know he done played, 3. Oh, so it was announced, but they ain't come out with it yet. But yeah, he starred in a few of them, like what, the Avengers movies, these Guardian of the Galaxy movies. Yeah, y'all should know by now he's a wrestler. But so him, Batista and Undertaker had like a rivalry going on when I had started watching wrestling. And to me, that was like the most interesting like rivalry. You got the dead man, and you got like the most monstrous men in WWE at the time. So first moment I remember watching was when they were like up on this stage, like or entrance part, finally. So yeah, this stage, and Undertaker was at one side, Batista was on the other side, and one of Batista's signature move is a spear. So pretty much he'll just like run at you full speed and just kind of does like a tackling maneuver towards you and stuff to kind of explain what it is. But it's like it's more so in the hip area, so he'll like tackle your hip area, and then that's a spear, you know, to describe that wrestling move for those that don't know. But Batista runs full speed at Undertaker, does this spear move to him. They both like fly off the stage, end up going into this one part. Then like this giant like part of the stage collapse, falls on them. This giant explosion happens. I swear, like that was when like kid me, like what? How old was I think when I seen that? I think I had to have been like 10 because it was right, yeah, because it was right after WrestleMania 23, and I think it was that Backlash where that match had happened. So yeah, I seen that and was like, whoa, what was that? Like, are they all like kidding me? You know, 10-year-old me. He's like, that's not safe. That's not that thing exploded. Them guys should be dead. Like, what's going on? Then next week they right back in the ring fighting each other and stuff, or you know, going off on people. So immediately after that, became a big fan of WWE. Became a big fan of wrestling. I actually wanted to be. It was like a dream of mine when I was a kid. I actually wanted to be a professional wrestler. I might follow that dream. I might one of these days go to like a wrestling like training or you know school and you know practice on becoming a professional wrestler. I gotta have my professional wrestling moment though. I don't care if it's like in an indie. Like as I get older, I realize it's like more important like things. You know, trying to get your like WWE moment and stuff. I'll wrestle for like an indie show, and I'm like, as long as there's a camera present and you know I do a couple of cool moves. Then yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it and stuff. If I get a contract with WWE, yeah, sure, I'll be a WWE wrestler. I don't mind. But that'd be kind of like crazy though. I feel like at that, not even at that point, I'm like, nah, I'm still not doing too much. There still would be more I would have to do and things because I'm like, yeah, I know I'm like killing it with the YouTube stuff, but then dang, being a wrestler at that too, yeah, that'd be doing too much, but. But at the same time, like, not really. No, I don't think I would. I think I'll be doing, like, a tad bit more and things. But, anyways, but yeah, after that, I was just, like, becoming a big fan of just, like, wrestling, other wrestlers. But I still had, like, that love for Undertaker and stuff. So, I remember it was, like, that very next WrestleMania 24. That was the first. Well, technically, I did, like, buy... or my parents, they bought WrestleMania 21 for me and stuff. So, yeah, that was, yeah, I think I was, like, trying to figure out, like, which WrestleMania was which. So I didn't realize that that WrestleMania, him versus, because they was, like, showing, like, clips of that match, and it looked like it was a pretty good match. WrestleMania 23, Batista and Undertaker. So I was like, oh, I want to get that one. You know, I wanted, like, and I didn't know which one was which, and so... I ended up getting, yeah, WrestleMania 21, but I did like that. Actually, my favorite match of WrestleMania 21 was Batista versus Triple H. So I was more so a fan of Batista than Undertaker, but I still was a fan of Undertaker and stuff. So, yeah, I'm like, yeah, but even his match, because that same WrestleMania he went up against Randy Orton, and that was a pretty good match too. I really did like the promos and all that stuff. Like, yeah, Undertaker, when them WrestleMania promos, they are always good, always. So that's what it was like the very very next year, WrestleMania 24. After 23, I didn't get a chance. I don't even know if he wrestled at WrestleMania. He might have wrestled at WrestleMania 2. Oh yeah, he did, because I think he went up against Kane at WrestleMania 22. WrestleMania 22. Wikipedia, because I always go there. Undertaker. Oh no, Undertaker. Dang, was this like one of the WrestleManias here? Oh yeah, he went up against Mark Henry in a casket match. Never mind. Oh, I think it was a previous WrestleMania that he went up against him. I think it was WrestleMania 20. I think it was that WrestleMania. 20, not 22, 20. It had to have been that one where he went up against Kane. Dang, only 18,000 people showed up? Well, yeah, wrestling back then, I feel like it's not as big as it is now. Because, yeah, that's not... At Madison Square Garden, only 18,000 people showed up to WrestleMania 20. Wow. That's crazy. That is seriously crazy. Yeah, he did go up. Yeah, it was that WrestleMania. He went up against Kane. That was a pretty good... It seemed like it was a pretty good WrestleMania. John Cena... Oh, yeah, I remember, like, bits and pieces of WrestleMania 20, like, seeing some things about it and stuff. But, anyways, But yeah, so WrestleMania 24. That's the first time I like ever like, you know, like for it. I guess what would it really? Well, yeah, pretty much. I had asked my parents could they order it for me. They did. Yeah, and sat there, watched it, and it was honestly the best thing ever. Sitting down and just watching wrestling and stuff. So. Yeah, they ordered it, and then it was Undertaker versus Edge, and Edge, you know, like the character that he brings to the table and stuff. That's why I'm like, Edge, he's another one of those like good wrestlers where it's like, dang, you know, it's just kind of messed up where it's like a wrestler you kind of wish like how it was like back when you were a kid, like 10 years ago and stuff, you know, because back then these guys was like wrestling all the time. Like, you know, they'd be up on TV weekly wrestling, and then one day they just disappear and be wrestling like every WrestleMania and stuff. And I'm like, dang, man. It's like, now it's like some of them are starting to wrestle at like different pay-per-views, because I know Edge, he just recently wrestled at this last pay-per-view. I think it was Backlash, or it was one of these pay-per-views. I think it was named Backlash. But, yeah, I'm like, dang, man, it's just crazy how like these wrestlers, it's like they, you know, I can't necessarily say that Undertaker is old, because I'm like, man, you know, he's still like, you know, a good wrestler for his age, but it's like he's getting up there where it's like if he gets injured, it ain't gonna be like how it was when he was younger, like, oh, you know, put an ice pack on it, and you know, but it's like when them injuries and that pain and all that stuff like builds up, even he was kind of talking about that, where it's like that stuff builds up, you know, it's pretty damaging, and overall, like, it's, you know, it's gonna like mess you up, and so he ain't trying to be, you know, like 70, 80 years old and stuff, and then it's like really painful, so it's like better to stop now before it's too late and things. But what they showing? What they showing? Like I'm actively like watching like WrestleMania, or not WrestleMania. Well, they are showing like a WrestleMania match involving Undertaker, but yeah, like it's wrestling and things. But anyways, and then after that, WrestleMania 25. That WrestleMania was good, because that's when I have to say that I really started looking. They're showing the clip. Well, they was like show the clip of it too fast, but they yeah, WrestleMania 25 when he went up against Shawn Michaels. Oh my. It's funny because they were trying to say like this match between Edge and Randy Orton is going to be the best match ever. If I had to say out of all of the matches that I have seen, probably to me like, well, no, that was more like a domination like type match. Like Batista like straight up almost killed Triple H in WrestleMania 21, but that will probably be my favorite match. But the best match ever, like in wrestling history, there's multiple, but I'm gonna have to say in my time, like, you know, like during my time of watching wrestling, it probably would have had to been Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, because if it wasn't for Brock Lesnar coming back and then ending Undertaker's streak, that was something where I'm like, nah, I don't care about like how they want to make Brock Lesnar into this beast of nature in wrestling and things. No, it should have been Shawn Michaels. I still say that till this day, like, because it came to the point where it was getting close. I'm telling you, it was getting close on how many times I thought Shawn Michaels was going to win that match. And man, I'm telling you, like, when it was reaching at points where I'm like, yo, is he really gonna win this and things? And so that match, that was definitely one of the most entertaining matches. I might, just for old time's sakes, I might just watch that match and things and just, you know, reminisce on the past. But then the very next year, then he went up against Shawn Michaels again, but it was a retirement match. And that was crazy. I'm like, yeah, because Shawn Michaels, yeah, it was like maybe he seemed like he was like, you know, he was young enough. Like he didn't seem like, yeah, because Shawn Michaels, how old is Shawn Michaels? Because I mean, he did wrestle not too long ago, but he's 54. Undertaker, he is 55. So like, yeah, I mean, and Shawn Michaels retired pretty early. Because Shawn Michaels, he retired at WrestleMania 26. Mania, and that was definitely over 10 years ago. Yeah, it was exactly 10 years ago, and that was, yeah, I think that was that yeah, I think it was that WrestleMania. How many people showed up to that WrestleMania? 72,000. Like, yeah, that's when wrestling they really start taking off. But yeah, no disqualification streak versus, yeah. So it was that match, but that was a good match too. I did like. I think, yeah, it was them Shawn Michaels and Undertaker matches. Those are probably gonna be the better ones because, you know, you just got like this like scary big man, you know, out here killing people, and then you got Shawn Michaels. He's just like an energy that's like, you. It doesn't matter what you do, like you ain't taking me out. But anyways, yeah, but I'm like, yeah, that was 10 years ago, so he was like 40 something. I don't know. I'm like, yeah, there's like wrestlers today that's like, how old is Sheamus? Because I think they said Sheamus just recently turned 50. Oh, he's 40. He's only 42? I thought they said he just turned. Where did I read that he turned 50? People out here lying on the internet, man. I could have sworn I seen somewhere that they said that man turned 50 years old. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. You know, he's 50 years old, wrestling weekly as if he was like a 20-year-old wrestler or something. But yeah, I'm like, man, that don't make no sense. How old is he's 40? So yeah, he's 42. So he's like what, like 2 years younger and stuff. It's funny, they're showing this Boneyard match, and they're showing like a part of the match where it became a meme, and they're showing, so it was, so Undertaker went up against this wrestler named AJ Styles, and AJ Styles thought he was about to win the match, so he's driving this tractor, and, he's thinking he's about to bury Undertaker, but then Undertaker somehow magically gets out of the grave, ends up behind him, and then you just see this big light just like flashing on the both of them and things. And they ended up turning that into a meme, and I was like, that is the funniest thing ever. Like, you know, being a wrestling fan and then seeing, like, parts of wrestling becoming a meme. I always think that that's just funny and stuff. But no, how old, that's what I wanted to see. How old is Jeff Hardy? Jeff Hardy, because he's wrestling weekly. He's 42. Dang, what wrestler is, like, 44 years old? Like, Randy Orton. Okay, how old is he? Well, he's like, oh, yeah, he's 40. I forgot. Randy Orton, he was kind of in the game when he was pretty young and stuff. Elias is no way he's 40 years old. Yeah, that man's 32. Ain't no way possible. Cesaro, he is 39. John Cena don't be wrestling weekly, but he's 43. Dang, it's crazy how, like, these wrestlers, they get in their 40s and then they just kind of disappear. Oh, wait a second. Well, nah, Brock Lesnar. Right. Well, no, yeah, he's kind of like active and stuff. I mean, well, he like not anymore, but yeah, he's kind of gone right now. But well, yeah, probably because everything that's going on in the world right now. So that's probably that would make that makes sense. He's 42 years old, but he still wrestles. He's currently saying, yeah, he's still signed to WWE. So yeah, I think just because everything that's going on in the world right now, he's staying away from it and things. But yeah, this last WrestleMania though, like for those that are not wrestling fans, WrestleMania went from having like 80,000 to like 100,000 people at WrestleMania to having nobody at WrestleMania. And it is seriously, it was the most craziest thing ever. Like, there's the one wrestling show, AEW, and I think they were doing that since this thing started, where they would have fans, or not fans, but they would have like wrestlers pretending to be fans and stuff. And I'm like, cool, have that, but don't have it where there's nobody in the crowd. I was like, I can't watch this. I mean, I did watch it, but I was like, this is just messed up, man. Like, I love the fans. Like, to me, the fans, that's like the one, like, you know, group of people where it's like half of wrestling. You know, if you watch wrestling and you don't care for the fans, then you're not a wrestling fan. But if you watch wrestling and you love the fans, so there's this wrestler named Chris Jericho. So his fans will sing his entrance music when he's walking out. that to me, I didn't realize it at first, like, you know, when starting watching AEW, because AEW I think came on sometime in the beginning of the year. But yeah, with AEW, when his fans starts, when they like, originally I didn't really, you know, care too much for it, but I think it was like right before all this stuff had happened, and I was like, man, I honestly I can't wait for him to come out tonight, and I know he is. And I know these fans is gonna sing his song and stuff, so I'm like, yeah, I honestly I cannot wait for that. But yeah, I can't wait for the stuff to go back to normal. So I could just, that's just honestly, that's like one thing that I just really want. I just want the fans back in wrestling. I'm like, I don't care about nothing else. Just have it where the fans are there, man. That's it. That's all I ask for. But nah, yeah, but it's like the fans, like, you know, they overall, like, in, oh, that's, speaking of fans, and then getting back on the Undertaker and stuff, because I feel like I'm just like, I'm talking about every other wrestler and stuff, like the honorable mentions, you know, like, to like mention these guys, because they all, I think they've all had like a moment with Undertaker and stuff. But anyways, so but no, like that's what I wanted to, that's what I was getting, I almost forgot what I was going to say and things. But no, one thing I really am like, I'm gonna miss about Undertaker is when his entrance music, because it starts off with like one of those, what is, it's like, it's a musical instrument, but it's like the beginning of his like music. So this like I don't want to like say the wrong thing, but like, so when his music overall starts, it'll like let off this like loud like musical type noise or so, I don't know. But anyways, it lets off this loud noise when his music starts. But the fans will go crazy. That's one thing that I have to say about Undertaker, is that I've never heard fans boo him. Never. Undertaker has always been that. I remember thinking that a long time ago, I think when I was younger, when I was a kid at some point. And I remember just thinking, like, I have never heard these fans boo him. Like, Undertaker, he's that wrestler to where nobody, like, you cannot hate him. And that's the thing, like, you know, growing up as a kid, where it's like, you're that kid where it's like, oh, everybody's booing him because he's a bad guy and stuff. But that's the crazy thing, like, as I got older and became even more of a fan towards, like, I feel like it might have been, how long ago was it? I think it had to probably, maybe after high school. I can't necessarily, it had to be at some point in time as I was getting older and stuff. But that's when you realize that, yeah, I think it had to be like at some point in time, like my senior year of high school or after I graduated from high school. But that's when you realize that, like, if these guys is getting booed, booed, it's because that the people really don't like them. They really don't. They're a bad wrestler. They don't, you know, they suck on the microphone. They're horrible at this. They're horrible at that. You know, there's like so many like different reasons why a wrestler would get booed. And then of course, like, you know, you have the kids there where it's like, oh, I'm booing them because they're the bad guy and they're overall attacking my favorite wrestler. But it's like, as you get older, you realize like that person sucked. Like, no, they were horrible. Like, dang, that's why they were getting booed. And I'm like, because there's wrestlers where I'm like, what overall happened to them? Like, there's the one guy, I think his name was like Mason Ryan, and he looked just like Batista. That was like the scary thing about him and stuff. He looked just like a younger version of Batista. What movie? If they did a wrestling version, all right, man. I go and close out the tab of like looking up Mason Ryan, and first thing I see is one of my friends tweeting some freaking pornographic art. Like, bro, I don't need to see that. Not right now, because that type of stuff, I'm like, why? Why that? I mean, like, you know, if that's what you're into, then be into that and stuff. But I'm like, dang, man. Like, you know, people gotta realize, like, you know, you don't know if a person's out in public, and I don't want to open up Twitter and then somebody's standing next to, well, there is that 6 feet distance. So you know what? Go ahead, open up everything you want to open up out in public. You know, somebody see that they standing too close, but. Anyways, what was I saying? But yeah, Undertaker, he's that wrestler where it's like he's never been bad. He's always had good matches. Even it was like, I remember the one match he had with John Cena that last at WrestleMania that was only like, what, a few seconds. That was even good. Because there was something I had asked for. But then when you sit down, you think about it and stuff where it's like, oh, the reason why the match just seemed like it was just like a demolished like thing, like Undertaker demolished John Cena, is because you think about it, these guys is probably friends. John Cena is like, and Undertaker might have been talking about it, like, I only got like a few years left in wrestling, so John Cena's all like, okay, let's have our like WrestleMania moment, but you just demolish me. Like, you get to like as you get older, you realize that like wrestling, it ain't about like who's powerful and who's stronger, who's this, who's that. It's about who has like respect for one another. When it's like when you see wrestlers like when they don't have no chemistry, it's usually like most of the time it's like good matches because they're highly trained wrestlers. They're like, okay, this is just like any other match. But if it's wrestlers that are friends with each other, that's why you'll see these same wrestlers, like for the kids, like talking to the kids and stuff. That's why you'll see these same wrestlers that they just had a WrestleMania match with. They hated each other's guts, was saying everything that they possibly could to make that person upset. But in reality, these guys are like best friends. That was one thing, as a kid, like tripping me out. And it was like a part of me that was like realizing, like these guys are like friends outside of wrestling. Was Randy Orton and John Cena, their rivalry. That was another rivalry where it was like, it was pretty major in my childhood and stuff. Like every time you seen these guys like on TV, you're like, uh-oh, like something crazy about to happen and things. But these guys are like best friends. So you have to think like all of these wrestlers that Undertaker wrestled with, he's most likely friends with them. There might be some where it's like, they're just like, okay, let's just get this bag and, like go on with their lives. But then it's like some of these guys where they're like, they got respect for him, regardless of whether they're he's their friend or not. He has respect for them. And they're like, I cannot be disrespectful. I cannot, show any anger or do anything crazy towards this man. And I'm saying if I was a wrestler and I had my moment with Undertaker, I'm like, Undertaker, you can have me at the entrance of like the stage and stuff. Take my arm, throw it across your shoulder, lift me up as high as you possibly can. If you even want to, you can have me up in the air just pausing for a second, and then just slam me, have me go through some tables, stuff, go crashing on me and things. And to me, like, everybody would be like, oh, Tyler, he just got demolished by Undertaker. Like, how he gonna allow that to happen? But in reality, me and him just shared a moment. Me and him, we shared this, like, cool moment. It's a moment that I can look back on and been like, oh yeah, this is when Undertaker, he chokeslammed me and stuff. And so I go over it, talk about it and things, how cool he is, how cool that moment was and stuff. And Undertaker, he's just like, oh, it's just another moment in the bag. To me, I'm like, that's crazy. I just had a moment with Undertaker. Like, that's somewhere, yeah, there's probably a lot of wrestlers, they wish that they, could have been like really up there, or just like been around in the time where like, Undertaker started. So at some point in time, these guys could have had a moment and things. But man, they're like showing the end of that Boneyard match. And it's like still is, before 9 o'clock. So I was right. I don't know why I was assuming like they were going to, because I was like, man, they're going to have to be showing a lot of commercial breaks. But yeah, they showed the end of that match. And I'm like, dang, man, that's just messed up. It's like, that's just like, dang, like, miss the guy, like, because it's just, you've been seeing, it's just, you see, like, the time, like, progresses on, like, it just seems like the time is just, so slow. But then when it comes to that point where he's like, oh, I'm retiring, this last match was my last match, then you're like, wow, that's crazy. Wrestling then started. So I'm about to end, because I was like, I figure I'll just talk for as long as this Boneyard match continues on, but I just want to say before I end this episode, Undertaker, thank you for bringing me into the like wrestling world. If I ever do go into getting into professional wrestling, oh, trust me, I'm gonna go through everything I possibly can to become like one of the, like, maybe not one of the best, but like, I had my moments. I might not be up there with Undertaker, but at least I had my moments. Like, if I just pulled off a dope move, that's all I ask for, at least but it's like, if I'm going to like really aim high, then yeah, I hope I can be like half the wrestler that he was, like have like a few WrestleMania moments and stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna miss Undertaker, man. It's just honestly, it's crazy to be like, the age I am now, but I was like, man, I was like 10 years old when I very first seen that guy. 13 years later, and I'm like, dang, that's just, but he's been wrestling like for 30 years, so it's like, to be there for like his last 13 years, I'm happy. I've seen some cool stuff from him this past 13 years, and I think that's what I'm honestly going to do. I'm probably just going to go up on YouTube, look up all the like Undertaker moments that I possibly can find. Oh yeah, then oh man, I almost forgot about that. The time I seen him live. Yeah, I almost forgot talking about that. So it was talking about that, and then I'm gonna end this episode. But no, so it was crazy. It was the last time they showed the No Way Out pay per view. So wrestling, or yeah, Monday Night Raws, they came to Seattle in 2008. I think it was October. It was October 6th or October 8th. And I had to like, honestly, I had to like find the tickets and stuff. The tickets are somewhere in my room, but so they came out here. It was dope because it was like it was like that Monday Night Raw. I got to see Batista, Kane, all these other different wrestlers. Kofi Kingston, he waved at me, but there was like 100 other people standing around me. But it looked like he made eye contact with me and stuff. So I'm gonna just embrace that moment and say, hey, Kofi Kingston, he waved at me and things. So, but anyways, but no. So they were handing out flyers to No Way Out. And I didn't know that that was going to be the last time they ever showed No Way Out, because after that, then they started calling it Elimination Chamber. So it was no longer called No Way Out. But yeah, Elimination Chamber, like for new wrestling fans, they probably just started watching wrestling like maybe a couple of years ago or something. Wait a second. See, this is what happens when it's like you like miss something of wrestling, and it's like they probably didn't say some like important stuff and things, but most likely I didn't miss it. Now I'm like gonna have to look it up on Twitter or something, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore. But anyways, so yeah, No Way Out. I end up going and think, okay, now they're showing the commercial break. They'll probably talk about it like once when they come back. But so yeah, No Way Out. I'm there. And not realizing it was gonna be the last time. But yeah, I get to see the Elimination Chamber. The Elimination Chamber, like how that thing is set up, how that thing looks, is seriously the dopest thing ever. But yeah, then it was also like Shane McMahon. I think it was his last match in the WWE, because it seemed like right after that he disappeared. But I think it was like him and Randy Orton. I think they went up against each other. JBL and Shawn Michaels, they went up against each other. What else? And then of course, Jeff Hardy, he was there. So yeah, Jeff Hardy, he's another favorite wrestler. Oh yeah, then it was a ladder match. Jeff Hardy, yeah, that's because Jeff Hardy is one of my favorite wrestlers. So him and Undertaker having a ladder match, I was like, that was a dope thing. Like, there's so many things, honestly. I should just do a part 2 to this and just talk about like everything I possibly can think of and stuff. I'm gonna try to go over it in the last. You know what? When I end this episode, I'll end it, because now I'm like thinking about all these different things. Most likely, I think about something else, and then this episode ain't gonna never end. But no, so Undertaker, he's there, and I knew he was. It wasn't like my surprise or anything, but seriously, that moment right there, where it's like being with my family. I was there with my cousin, my dad, my uncles. We were all just sitting there in the line, and seeing like Undertaker, seeing that environment, getting into an argument with my uncle about which wrestler is better, like that is a moment of my childhood that I'm like, it's like it was a good moment and things. That's a moment that I would love to like live out today and stuff. You know, it's like those moments that triggers, and you're like, dang, that was a good time right there. But yeah, I'd seen Undertaker live, and I was like, man, that was pretty cool to see him live. You know, see his like wrestling match, feel that heat. So for those, if you've never seen Undertaker live, when he's coming out, so he'll have it where there's these fire pyro things that would like, it'll just like, it won't like, it's not loud, but it just sprays out fire and stuff. You can feel the heat of that fire, like, and I was sitting up in like the 20th row. It wasn't like I was right there up on it. I was sitting up in the 20th row, so you just feel that heat just hit you and stuff. You're like, yo, this man kind of scary. Like, that is insane. But then it was like the very next year at Elimination Chamber, he ended up getting set on fire and stuff, fooling around with that thing, because I think it was like either he had like walked over it or it sprayed in the wrong direction, and overall it set like his like jacket coat thing on fire, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. I'm like, man, I'm glad I wasn't there for that, because you know people got the screaming and yelling like, oh my god, Undertaker's on fire. But yeah, it was, there's like showing like more highlights and wrestlers talking about him and stuff. It's like an important moment in wrestling. Like, it's crazy. If they hadn't inducted him in the Hall of Fame, they gotta induct him in the Hall of Fame next year. They have to. Them like he has to have like that Hall of Fame moment and stuff. Now he has to and things, but anyways, yeah, that's honestly all I can think of right now. But Undertaker, thank you for giving me a very dope childhood when it comes to wrestling. Yeah, if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would be watching wrestling today. Honestly, I probably would see the memes and that would be it. But yeah, it's yeah, I'm glad he's the one. You know, if it would been any other wrestler, all right, whatever. But I'm glad it was him that gave me my first like wrestling memory and stuff. So to me, he'll forever always be that undefeated wrestler at WrestleMania. I don't care about his 2 losses to Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. I don't know how I forgot Brock Lesnar's name, but yeah, to me, he's gonna still be that undefeated wrestler, the dead man. I wish I was there for his like biking era and stuff. He come through on the bike. Like I feel like that because yeah, they showed that Undertaker in his last match and stuff. So yeah, I imagine like that had to been like the best wrestling like or best Undertaker and stuff. So anyways, but I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. If you are new to the YouTube channel, like and subscribe, and if you're viewing this on the podcast streaming service, make sure you follow or subscribe, however it's set up. And if you're purchasing tickets from SeatGeek, make sure you use my promo code TMossBoss. It will knock $20 off your first purchase. And that being said, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for watching and or listening, and peace.